Hi, FORRIS here. On this episode, we have Mara Lesemann, and she's going to talk about her experiences with working with the police on her movie sets. She's going to tell you some things that you should do and some things that you shouldn't do. Now, let's roll tape.
This episode brought to you by Spoof Dance Film Festival. Make parody commercials and bring the funny.
Hi, Mara. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Forrest. Great to be here.
What advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about shooting a movie but not going the route, contacting the police?
Figure out what the rules are, and keep as low profile as possible. If you don't want to work directly with the police, do as much investigation as possible to figure out what the town's rules are, and then figure out how you can work around those rules. Don't show guns. And that may sound obvious and silly, but it's amazing the mistakes people make. Have people around you, people from your crew around the outskirts of the set advising people that this is a movie. Hang up signs that say movie being shot. And be polite to the people in the town. I mean, if somebody walks through your set and you don't have a permit, heck, even if you do have a permit, you're blocking their way. Maybe you're within your rights to tell them to go around, but be pretty careful about doing that. You know, recognize that people have the right to live their life and you're just a visitor in their town. So if you can wait for them to pass rather than telling them to be, to get out of your way, it's always a better approach because you're liable to have, you never know who you're talking to. You never know who's the mayor's daughter, the police officer's son, or whatever. So to the extent that you can be courteous and work around them, you're going to be that much better off. Let's
talk about working with the police on a film set. You've had some experience. Let's teach others.
Okay. I did it on both of my features. The first feature was called Surviving Family, and shameless plug, it's available on iTunes and Amazon Prime. It's, I get de-producered or something like that if I don't mention that. The Surviving Family, we shot a lot of it in Jersey City, which is where I live, and it's a very urban area. The best analogy I can come up with is Brooklyn, which is a place that a lot of people, who may not live in New York, at least have a good idea of what Brooklyn looks like, and that's very much what Jersey City is. It's very tight together. It's a lot of brownstones, a lot of businesses. So when you shoot here in Jersey City, you often have to have a off-duty police officer, even when there's not a dangerous situation, which is fine. I'll get back to the good and bad points of that in just one second. We worked very closely with the Jersey City Film Office in order to get all of that set up. And we went weeks in advance and we got all our permits and our insurance and so forth. And they connected us directly to the Jersey City Police Department. And they had an office that specifically provides off-duty police for things like film sets. Sometimes you'll see construction on your street and you'll see some off-duty officers working specifically for that. We were required to have them on site for a lot of situations that we didn't really think were necessary. If we were shooting on a street, even if we weren't closing the street off, if we had more than a certain number of people, cast and crew, and it wasn't a very large number. So we had, and you have to pay these off-duty officers. It's $55 an hour and a 4-hour minimum. So it does get expensive fairly quickly. On the positive side, they were really good at diffusing any problems when local people complain. They directed traffic. They stopped traffic when you need a quiet set and you can't have cars running through and horns honking. They were fantastic about stopping the traffic, even if it's just for 30 seconds. Sometimes that 30 seconds is what you need. Most important, we started this process about 3 weeks before we were ready to shoot. So we went to the police. We had our insurance already in place. We completed the permits. You can't get around filling out the paperwork. You just can't. And you have to accept the fact that you're going to have insurance if you're at a situation where you need to involve police. They were fabulous to us. Now, let's jump ahead a few years to the fall of 2014 when we shot my second feature, which is called Detours. That's a road trip movie. And as you can imagine, a road trip movie, you have to shoot some driving scenes. We did a couple of things happen here. One was we thought about shooting a lot of it in Jersey City once again. We had a lot of scenes in bars, not driving, but the characters talking in bars, meeting in bars. And I know a few bars in Jersey City. Let's put it that way. I've been to a few. I help support them, and they're actually very, very open and helpful about letting me shoot there. What we found was that in the southern part of New Jersey, in Monmouth County and Ocean County, they only required off-duty police if there was a safety issue. So if you were just shooting on the street or on the sidewalk, as long as you weren't creating a nuisance, they didn't require it. And that saved us tremendous amounts of money. Having said that, once again, we still had to be very thorough. We went down probably 6 weeks in advance this time, and we talked to all the police departments, and we had all of our insurance. And the thing was, on this one, we wanted to have what's called a process trailer. And I don't know if any of your viewers have ever used one, but it's a big truck with a big flatbed truck. And you put the car on top of the truck and you bolt it into place. And then you have the camera crew kind of running behind it. And it's huge. And it's a fabulous way of shooting driving scenes. But we absolutely positively had to have a police escort with us. So this was the biggest thing for us. It took us weeks to plan this. We had to work with the police. We had to work with the highway authority. And actually the hardest thing was to find one of the process trailers available to rent. It turns out there's a ton of them in LA and only 2 on the East Coast of the United States. And the one we used was actually used in several of the Batman movies. So that was pretty cool. So when it came to the time that we were going to shoot with the process trailer, which was an extraordinarily important day for us because these were shots that were really going to sell our movie as a real road trip movie, we had literally a police escort. We had 2 cop cars in front of us, 2 trailing us, and 2 on the side of us for half a day. And yeah, we had to pay for it, but it was insane. It was great. And they took us on Route 195, which runs east and west in New Jersey. It's impossible to shoot on the New Jersey Turnpike. You can't do it. So they took us on 195, and they really shut down traffic for us, not for a whole day, but for like 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after. And they escorted us as we shot this, and there's no way we could have done it otherwise. For safety, we wouldn't have even tried. In the course of all of this, we became friends with our cops. We gave them water, we fed them. That's a big thing, feed your cops. About 3/4 of the way through our shoot in Ocean County and Monmouth County, we realized we had to reshoot a day, and we needed a house. We needed a big yard and a house, and we just picked a bad location. One of the cops actually offered us his house. So he called his wife, and she said, yeah, sure, come on over. We used his house. We used his huge yard. His father-in-law became an extra in the movie. We had our catering on his lawn. And, he really let us make one of our best scenes that much better. It wasn't because he had to. He absolutely did not. He was getting paid for doing a very limited thing, which was to help us shoot our process trailer scenes and our hostess tray scenes. He went absolutely out of his way to help our movie be the best it could be, because these guys like doing this. I mean, think about what cops do most of the time. They're chasing bad guys and looking for bad guys and protecting banks. Protecting a movie shoot is great. Most of these guys love it. They enjoy watching. They enjoy being part of it. So this guy really stepped up and made our movie that much better. But I really believe a lot of it is also because, we were nice to them. We said please and thank you. If they told us we couldn't do something, we didn't do it. We fed them. When we gave the crew meals, the police were always invited to join us for a meal. So that's a lot of talking, and once I get started, it's kind of hard for me to stop sometimes. So.
All right, Mara, thanks for the great advice, and hopefully folks will take it. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Have a great afternoon.